I was walking down the hall when I heard footsteps and turned around to see Nagakura coming toward me. Nagakura? What's that for? He glanced down almost absently at his hands, which held a candle and an unexpectedly long needle.
長州の患者を捕まえたんだけどよ、なかなか口を割らねえらしいんだ。
One of the Shosu guys we picked up isn't talking.
副長が直々に相手にすることになったんだが、道具が足りないって言うから持ってくとこよ。
The commander's gone to talk to him personally, but he said he didn't have the right tools and sent me out to get these. Oh, okay. Nothing wrong with that. I think about it. I'm wooing your other version of self in the amazing Shinsengumi, so this is kind of awkward and interesting all at the same time. I don't understand. I got that they captured someone, but what were the needle and candle for? It's called torture, Chizuru. Torture.
こういうことはわからねえ方が幸せだって。
Look, kid, ignorance is bliss, alright? Don't think about it too much. He gave me another bark of laughter and headed past me down the hall. I still don't know what he meant. As the sun began to set, the activity in the compound reached a fever pitch. Heisuke! He shot past my door as I called out, then wheeled back around. What happened? All the men are running around. Did you get some information out of that Chonsun man you captured? He nodded.
今夜長州の奴らが会合するらしいんだ。で、俺ら討ち入り準備中ってわけ。
It looks like they're having a meeting right now. We're getting ready for a raid. Oh. Heisuke went on to explain with the Shinsengumi would be splitting into two groups and searching locations at opposite ends of the city. Kondo would take 10 men to the Okita Inn, and Hijikata would take 24 to the Shikoku Inn.
土方さんたちの行く四国屋が当たりっぽいよ。俺は逆方向だからちょっと残念だな。
They're probably at Shikoku. Gotta say, I'm kind of pissed the chief's sending me to the Okita. They'd send more men with Hijikata because they thought he was probably be seeing action. Kondo and his men were just to make sure they covered all of our bases. You mean there aren't even 40 men ready to move? I had known that the heat in close quarters had made some of the men sick, but I hadn't known it was so many. Heisuke sighed.
会津藩や諸次第にも連絡入れたんだけど、動いてくれる気配ないんだよな。
They sent word to Aizu and the Judiciary Commissioner, but it looks like they're gonna sit on their hands. It sounds like you've got your work cut out for you. Unfortunately, there wasn't much I could offer him apart from sympathy. I had a feeling it was going to be a difficult night. After all the men capable of fighting had left their respective assignments, Sanan called for me. Oh, okay.
もちろん名目上のことですが、私は局長から屯所の守護を仕切るよう仰せつかりました。
I'm sure it was only out of courtesy, but the chief has asked me to protect the compound.
手薄になった新選組の屯所が何者かに狙われないとも限りません。
It's mostly empty, of course, but someone may try to attack us for that very reason.
君は私の目が届く範囲にいてください。非常時には適宜私から指示を出します。
So I must ask you to stay where I can keep a close eye on you. I might need to give you orders should the worst occur. Okay. I hesitated a moment, then spoke. Does that mean you'll protect me? I wasn't sure why, but he laughed at that.
腹痛で寝込んでいる平太医師よりは私の方がまだ使い物になりますから。
Well, I should hope I'd be more use than the men who've been confined to their beds, at least. Was I supposed to be happy? His smile was so sad. I wasn't sure what I should say. It seemed to hurt him the most when the rest of the men were out with fighting, and all he could do was wait. The silence between us stretched out until suddenly the door to our room opened without a sound.
三男総長、奴らの会合場所が池田屋と判明いたしました。
Well, hello. Hello, ninja, I think, right? Yeah, you look like a ninja. Looks like a ninja, walks like a ninja, speaks like a ninja. Probably is a ninja. I don't know how you talk like a ninja, but yeah. Colonel Sana, we've confirmed the Chonsu are meeting at Okita. The Okita Inn?
ああ、それは困りましたね。新選組は意外と賭け事に弱いのかもしれない。
Oh dear, that's less than desirable. I suppose the Shinsengumi was never good with games of chance. His tone was light, but his face was serious, and with good reason. They were certain Shikoku was the right location, and had sent only half as many men to Okita.
山崎君、一つ面倒を頼まれてくれますか？
Yamazaki, can you do me a favor? Who's Yamazaki? The Shinsengumi officer and spy is a member of the watch and reports to Hijikata. So what, spy is another word for ninja now? He's in that outfit, it looked like a ninja. The man who he called Yamazaki nodded curtly.
まず敵の所在は池田屋であると四国屋へ向かった土方君に伝えてください。
First, go tell Hijikata that the enemy is meeting at Okita. He should still be on his way to Shikoku.
そして大変お手数なのですが、その伝令にはその子も同行させてほしい。
And I'm sorry to trouble you with it, but I need you to take this child with you as well. This child? Well, wait! Was he talking about me? Yamazaki seemed just as surprised.
お言葉ですが総長、伝令であれば俺一人で事足ります。
I don't mean to be rude, Colonel, but if all you need is a message delivered, I think I can handle that myself. Yamazaki's cold eyes slid over me for a moment as he spoke.
伝令に向かう途中、他の浪士に足止めされるかもしれません。
There may be Ronin out to intercept you. So I'm like the second messenger? What? There's a chance that Chonsu had support, he continued. If Yamazaki encountered resistance, it would take longer for his message to reach Hijikata, perhaps too long, assuming, of course, that it reached him at all. Sana finished with a soft smile I hadn't seen him use for weeks.
さて、
What smile?
私の言いたいことはわかりますか？
Do you see what I'm trying to say? Yamazaki nodded.
自分が長州遠平の足止めを行い、最悪は彼女だけでも土方隊に合流させよう。
You know I'm a girl? If the worst should happen, I can hold off any Chonsun Ronin and give her the message. Oh. I gulped. It sounds as if they were suggesting that if things went badly, Yamazaki would sacrifice himself.
ああ、もちろん山崎君が失敗するとは思っていませんよ。
Yes, of course. I doubt it will come to that.
我々には人手が足りず、君には仕事が多い。会津藩や諸次第への連絡も担ってもらわねば。
We're short of men right now, which means there's more I need you to do. They're short on men right now, which means there's more I need you to do. You'll need to notify Aizu and the Judiciary Commissioner as well. That would have Yamazaki running all across Kyoto. I suppose it really drove home just how thin the Shinsengumi was stretched. Apart from Yamazaki and Sana, the only other people able to carry messages was me.
確か雪村君だったな。護身程度の術なら身につけていると聞いた。
You're Chizuru Yukimura, right? I heard you know a little about how to protect yourself. Yes, I do. He looked at me for a moment, emotionless. I don't know how much emotion you expect to get from eyes and a half-covered face, but yeah.
残念ながら君の安全は保証できない。それで構わないというのであれば、俺に同行してくれ。
Suzumu Yamazaki. Unfortunately, I can't guarantee your safety. If you can work with that, you're welcome to join me. If I tried to run away while we were out, I had no doubt that he would kill me without hesitation. He would see his mission as priority, not my life. Even so, I'll go. If I really could help, then I wanted to. I'd lived with these men for almost half a year. They had fed me, given me a roof over my head, and helped me look for my father. I can take care of myself. You don't need to worry about me. Sana gave me a small smile. Somehow. Oh, wait, no, Sana's someone else. Never mind. It's not this guy. I knew he'd want to join the battle more than anyone, but we both knew that wasn't possible. The least I could do for him was to carry out my mission.
では、 総長命令しかと承りました。
Very well. I accept your request, Colonel. He bowed and then turned to me. Run with all your might, he whispered, and ran from the room. I took off after him, my legs working as hard as they could. Out into the street we ran. I quickly discovered that half a year indoors had done little for my physique, and I was clearly out of shape. Despite just being indoors and eating, yeah, that happens. After only a few blocks, I found myself gasping for breath.
何があってもこの通りを走り抜けろ。後ろを振り向く必要はない。
No matter what happens, follow the street. Don't look back. I had neither the time nor the breath to respond. When we left the compound, I already decided that I would trust Yamazaki completely. So I didn't look back. Oh, what? As I stepped into the next intersection, I saw a flash of metal out of the corner of my eye.
君は惑うな。じきに合流できる。
Keep going. I'll catch up with you in a moment. Ooh, he's about to battle. Go, dude. Good luck. Right. I kept running. I pretended I didn't hear the sounds of swords ringing against one another behind me, gritted my teeth, and ran. My knees felt weak and my legs shook, but I kept going. They'd have to collapse or shake themselves to pieces before I'd stop. Even so, I felt so slow. I wanted to cry out, to scream, and my body to go faster, faster. It sounds like a horrible nightmare where you're always trying to run and you just can't. You're just like, I feel like I'm running really slow. I hated those dreams. Ugh. Very annoying. Light shone out of the darkness so suddenly that for a moment I was blinded. My heart stopped. Was it Chonshu's soldiers? I froze. What the hell are you doing? Hijikata! I nearly began to cry with relief. Instead, I simply collapsed as Harada reached out to grab me. Thank you!
大丈夫か？勝手に豚書から出てると後で土方さんに切られるぞ。
Hey, you alright? If you left the headquarters without permission, Hijikata's gonna kill you. I grabbed onto Harada's hand and pulled my body to its feet. What I wanted to tell him was that I had permission to leave and explain to him that it was alright for me to be there, but I was breathing so hard I could barely speak. Besides, I hadn't been sent to Hijikata to make excuses. I took as deep of a breath as my shredded lungs could manage and spoke. They're meeting at Okita. Suddenly Hijikata's expression changed. Then they are at Okita. I nodded rapidly. Are you sure? Hijikata gestured towards me. Sanna's lost his arm, not his brain. The kid didn't run away. The colonel sent us this message. Harada whistled.
よく俺らと合流できたな。今日の地理には詳しくないんだろう?
I'm pretty impressed you found us. We didn't really think you knew Kyoto that well, kid. Yeah, Yamazaki. I finally got some of my breath back and I did my best to tell them what had happened. What about Aizu and the Judiciary Commissioner's men? Are they on their way to Okita? I just shook my head. Hijikata thought for a moment, then spoke. Saito, Harada, you take our men to Okita. I need to go deal with something. Harada and Saito nodded curtly, then turned to their business. Kyoto would be dangerous to be alone. Stay with us, or go with Hijikata. I still lacked the breath to respond properly, so I simply nodded. We both knew they couldn't leave me here. I didn't know how to go back to the compound, but who should I go with? Hijikata? We're headed to the Okita Inn. What am I going to do with the inn? I'm going to stay with Hijikata. And I want to see what he wants to do anyway. The prospect of being alone with him was rather frightening, but for some reason I still didn't understand. I decided to go with Hijikata. It's because a mystical force is guiding you, Chizuru. Mystical force. Me. We were quiet for a while. I felt like I should say something, but I wasn't sure what. Instead I kept quiet. After a moment he glanced down at me.
伝令、ご苦労だったな。俺たちが先手を打てるのはお前の手柄だ。
Why did you whisper that last part? Good job with that message. I think it might have given us the advantage we need. I never thought Hijikata of all people would praise me for anything. My heart fluttered momentarily in my chest. Still, what did he mean by advantage? If the battle at the Okita Inn had already begun, it didn't seem like we had much of an advantage at all. We stepped out from the alley into the central avenue. Hijikata? Why are we out here on the street?
臆病風吹かすような連中は目立つことしか頭にねえって相場が決まってるんだよ。
What kind of man tries to hide all the time? I blinked, not sure what to make of that, when Yamazaki appeared beside us without making a sound. You were a ninja, not... Okay. Maybe they didn't think we know what ninja is, but we knew everything else, so we just made you into a spy. Yamazaki, you're safe! He didn't seem to have been hurt at all, thank goodness. Yamazaki's eyes slid to me for a moment, then back to Hijikata.
池田屋の件はすでにお聞き及びかと思います。
You're already aware of the situation in Okita, I assume?
自分は会津藩と諸次第へも通達を行うよう三南総長より促されておりました。
Konosana ordered me to notify the Aizu and the Judiciary Commissioner, but Hijikata simply nodded.
だろうな。次の指示は追って出す。山崎君はひとまず俺に同行してくれ。
Yeah, I'll have new orders for you in a few minutes. Sit close for now. He lifted his chin a fraction of an inch, and something in his voice changed, almost imperceptibly.
腰の表役人どもへは新選組の副長が直々に挨拶しておく。
Okay. Your commander needs to go have a word with a bunch of useless bastards. Deep in his cold eyes, I saw a spark of anger. What? No sooner were the words out of his mouth than they appeared, line for line of government soldiers marching toward us. There were hundreds of them, even marching abreast across the entire width of the street. They were several rows deep. Now I understood why Hijikata had taken us out onto the street. The government forces would never fit through the back alleys, and we never had seen them. There was something about their march, so seemingly slow and unconcerned with the fires of anger in my own eyes. But the rest of the men are still fighting at the inn. The Shinsengumi had only a few soldiers able to fight, but even so, they were risking their lives for the safety of Kyoto. Didn't these government men have the same responsibility? Why weren't they rushing to help the Shinsengumi at the inn? Perhaps my anger was more obvious than I realized because Hijikata gave a snort of laughter.
安心しろ。新選組を奴らの言いようにはさせねえ。
Don't worry, I'll make sure they don't screw us. With that, he stepped forward into the very middle of the street, directly in front of the advancing soldiers. He did nothing more than move a few feet and then turned to face them, but there was such an authority in his movements that he could have easily been the head of an army.
局長以下、我ら新選組一同、池田屋にて御用改めの最中である。
The Shinsengumi are currently conducting an official investigation at Okita Inn.
一切の手出しは無用。池田屋には立ち入らないでもらおうか。
You will not interfere. You will not enter the Okita Inn. I guess that's one way getting pissed off, right? Even though I could see the government men were going over to protest Hijikata's proclamation, when Yamazaki leaned over and whispered something to me.
もし池田屋に立ち入ることを許せば、長州浪士制圧すら彼らの手柄とされるだろ
If we let these men walk into the inn, then they'll take credit for subduing this Chonsu threat. What? How could they? After all what Shinsengumi had done, it just didn't seem fair. But it's the men of the Shinsengumi who were risking their lives. Yamazaki simply looked away.
それだけ我ら新選組は軽んじられているということだ。
Then you see now how little respect they have for the Shinsengumi. If we allow them into the inn, Yamazaki told me, they would undoubtedly play up their own role. In fact, they would likely entirely omit the fact that Shinsengumi had been first on the scene. That was why the commander was making sure to keep them out. At last, I understood what Hijikata meant earlier when he spoke of an advantage. But we must.
小せえ旅館に何十人も入るわけねえだろう。池田屋を取り囲むくらいが関の山じゃねえか。
You really think you can fit all these men in there? The best you'll be able to do is surround it.
それとも乱戦に巻き込まれて死にてえのか。我が身が可愛いならおとなしくしとけ。
Unless you really want to send them in there to die. There's a fight going on, you know. If you value the lives of your men, I suggest you stay put. Hijikata's tone as much as his words left no room for argument. Until the battle ended, he stood his ground and not a single man challenged him. But dang. And then the sun came up. The raid itself had lasted only 2 hours, but for me at least, it felt far longer. There had been 20 Imperial nationalists at the Okita Inn, and the Shinsengumi had killed 7 Ronin and injured 4 more. I learned later, with the help of the Aizu domain and the Kyoto Judiciary Commissioner, they had arrested 23 people. The owner of the Okita had also been arrested for trying to help the Chonshu rebels escape. The Shinsengumi had won an incredible victory, fighting against superior members of an enemy territory. The Shinsengumi had won an incredible victory, fighting against superior numbers in enemy territory, but they had paid dearly for it. Okita had taken a blow to the chest and lost consciousness. Heisuke had been cut on the forehead and the bleeding refused to stop. Nagakura had injured his left hand. One of the Shinsengumi soldiers had lost his life at the inn's rear entrance, and 2 others had been severely injured there as well. It didn't seem likely they would survive. The Kyoto military and judiciary commissioners, run by Aizu and Kuwana domains respectively, also fought Chonshu Ronin. With their successful resolution of the Battle of Okita Inn, the Shinsengumi had at last made a name for themselves. It looked as though the peace in Kyoto had been protected. Never could I have imagined that the ultimate result of their victory at the Okita would be... Would be what? What would it be? Oh. On to the next half of the chapter. In other words, we won't find out till next time. Alright then, I'll see you guys later. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this chapter for you guys. Anyway, until next time, Kaze out. Bye.